Yo, what's up guys, welcome back, another YgoPro duel video, the Amorphages. I think everyone already knows the cards here from, I believe, Shining Victories. They pretty much, all the Amorphages monsters have their own floodgate effect, depending on the card of course. So let's take a quick look at the cards first and then a few example duels to showcase the weaknesses and maybe advantages of the deck, but Amorphages do suffer a lot of weaknesses, as you will see in the videos. There's one Gester when it's in your pendulum zone, so pretty much every Amorphage monster when it's in your pendulum zone, and if you control a face-up Amorphage monster, their pendulum effects will be in effect. So they will, it's of course continuous, so they will be in effect. They will activate, but yeah, you know what I mean. So the first one is a Gester. Gester negates all of your opponent's monsters effects, or at least for both players, so no monster effects. And the second one we have Lux. Lux prevents the activation of spell cards other than Amorphages spell cards, of course. So that's kind of crucial against pendulum, heavily pendulum based decks. Definitely one of the MVPs against those decks. And then level 4, which is Hyper. Hyper prevents effect damage like burn damage, which is decent. But pretty much the only reason why this card is, I think, at 3 in the deck, should be at 3 in the deck, because it's a level 4. And that's also one of the big weaknesses the deck has. The power of the deck relies, or at least the monsters, the Amorphage monsters with the best floodgate effect are level 2. And if you play the deck, all Amorphage monsters have either a scale of 3 or 5. So the monsters with the best floodgates effect, you can't pendulum summon those. So that's again a very big hinder for the deck. But let's continue. Then we have Nortus, which is a level 6 and also can't be pendulum summoned with only the Amorphage monster. Nortus is very strong, it's a Mistake, and we all know how good Mistake is against all the current, pretty much every current top tier deck. And then we have Olga, which we already knew from the previous videos, and Olga prevents tribute monsters from coming out, so neither player can attribute monsters. So it's again very good against Magus Spectres, for example. And then also definitely one of the better ones next to the spell negator, and that's Blessed. Blessed prevents the activation of trap cards. Outside of course your Amorphage trap cards, but that's again very crucial against Magus Spectres or Solemn Notice, for example. If you know your opponent has Solemn Notice, you can leave your Blessed in your pendulum scale, in your pendulum zone, and again you have to control a face-up Amorphage monster to get the effect of that both players cannot activate the trap cards. Again, very important to keep in mind. And then the last one, that's Kevum. Prevents neither player from activating cards in a chain. Also can be crucial against a few decks. And last but not least, let's not forget the Macrocosmos one, which is Iritum. Also again, the big downside of the deck that you can't pendulum summon the bigger monsters, the higher level monsters, because of their scales, maximum of 5 and minimum 3. This is again one of the biggest downsides here currently, that Amorphages currently have. But let's take a quick look at a few duels, and then I think it becomes clear which weaknesses Amorphages currently have. Alright, so the first game is against Magus Spectre, so definitely showcasing against pendulum-based deck, since it's very crucial. One important thing with Amorphages is opening a duel. I mean, if you already played Amorphages, it's so important, even with the new rule of opening with only 5 cards to open the duel. Amorphages, they have a lot of problems dealing with an already established field, as you will see in a later duel. But if you get to start, you're playing a lot of monsters. Is try to get your pendulum scale set up and hopefully either have your field spell, but most importantly you are just your quote-unquote Black Whirlwind for the archetype, which is I think called Infection. Every time, or at least once per turn, when an Amorphage monster is, when any monster is destroyed on your side of the field or tributed, doesn't matter, you can get a Surge. Again, that's if you don't have that, you rarely are going to win a duel. But yes, it's again that Surge spell is very crucial. Same with the field spell. The field spell is your priority number 2, but it's not that important, as you will see in a few duels. Well, it's important, but you will see the downsides of the field spell. So again, I get to start. So again, showcasing the possibilities of the deck. Pendulum summon. Yes, so I have that new Rector Pendulum, so all pendulum monsters from the opponent are negated, and against a deck like Magus Spectres, that should be game. They don't have a lot of outs. Wavering Eyes is of course an easy out. Twin Twister, of course. Mystical Space Typhoon are easy out. outs, and on top of that, those cards just wreck Amorphages. I mean, you will see if your opponent has Wavering Eyes, I think you can pretty much scoop up your cards if you're playing Amorphages. But again, I have the engine rolling with the field spell, with the search spell Infection. I have that, what is it called? I think it's Looks that negates trap cards. Yeah, anyway, so I have that level 4 trap negator in my Pendulum Scale, and make sure that I have an Amorphage monster face up before I Pendulum Summon. Very crucial, since if my opponent has Solemn Notice, which he does have 2 of them in his back row, he can't activate them because I control a face up Amorphage monster and I have that Blessed, that trap preventer, that trap negator in my Pendulum Scale. Also very crucial is, again, I have a Pendulum Summoned Amorphage monster on my side of the field, so my opponent cannot special summon from the extra deck. And that, yeah, if you're playing against a deck like Major Spectres, that's pretty much game over if they don't draw into their outs, like Raigeki, to clean the board, prevent you from having a face-up Amorphage monster. But anyway, so playtesting against Cosmos, and that's something different, as you will see. So again, my opponent cannot activate spells, my opponent cannot activate traps as long as I control Amorphage monsters, and they are Pendulum Summoned, so my opponent cannot special summon from the extra deck. But this is Cosmos, and a simple Dark Destroyer. One Dark Destroyer completely wrecked me here. So again, during the semi-phase, I have to tribute or destroy my Pendulum Scale, tribute the monster on the field, or destroy the Pendulum Scale, and yeah, that's Amorphages. If your opponent has that mass removal or is able to get rid of your monsters, you can't tribute with your Pendulum Scales, so they will destroy themselves, and at that time the field spell is also useless, because the field spell only works if you tribute monsters, Amorphage monsters, on your side of the field to get a draw. So they suffer a lot of weaknesses. They have to start, they can't deal with established boards. It's a very slow deck. They heavily rely on that Surge spell, that Infection spell card. Yeah. But then again, if you're able to establish a board, it's then again, yeah, it's not easy with Amorphages. Anyway, so I have the Spell Negator and the Trap Negator on my side of the field. Yeah, I was fearing the Wavering Eyes earlier, but I had no option here to tribute it, or at least had to have an Amorphage monster on my side of the field and keep that Spell Negator intact. But now I think it should be pretty much game over. Again, my opponent cannot activate spell cards, he cannot activate his trap cards, he cannot special summon from the extra deck, so this should be game over, right? Again, Pendulum Summon all the big monsters on board, and I think I can attack for game. Not really sure. No, not yet. I think it's going to be the next turn, but he eventually is going to scoop. His Wavering Eyes is useless, and again another monster, so that's definitely one of the stronger things. If you can establish a big board and your opponent doesn't have an immediate answer to that, then yeah, the Morphic check can play its game, as in not let your opponent play a Yu-Gi-Oh! Right. Last duel, again showcasing that if you don't open a duel with Amorphages, the deck struggles a lot. And that's why I'm playing with the Draco rivals, you know, the Luster Pendulum and so on, to go for Ignister, possibly go for Ignister, since Ignister does try to clean your opponent's boards. It's just an option to deal with a possible established field. So that's why I'm playing the cards. But again, you see that it's so... I can't do anything here. Yeah, Pendulum summoned the last one, the Olga, but yeah, we knew Eccentric Archetype was negated with effect failure, so that's game over. I can't do anything if the opponent already has an established board, and I don't have an option to go for Ignister, the Draco, Synchro. But yeah, then again, still more testing needed. So both spell cards are crucial, the Infection, the field spell to some lesser extent, but it's also very crucial to get your engine, to get your floodgates and so going. And the last, the trap card. The trap card is, I think, maximum one-off in deck. The trap card replaces one of your scales if they are destroyed once during each turn. But I really don't like the card, since, for example, if your Amorphage monster triggers during your own standby phase, destroying itself, sure, you can use a trap, but it's still the standby phase, so the monster is placed in the Pendulum Scale and will still be destroyed by its own effect, since it's still the standby phase. So the only reason why I would play this card is against cards like Wavering Eyes or Twin Twister, for example, but then again, I think this card is just fine as a one-off in the deck, with the current support, that is. So yeah, guys, leave yeah, feel free to leave tips, yeah, suggestions for the build, for decks, for cards that I should test out. Thanks for watching, and feel free to leave a comment or a like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.